Good morning.
No, it's already started. The chipperness.
Good morning. Good morning. Ooh, it's a fast version. It's great to see you, JJ. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Okay, this episode is over. Way too chipper.
Yeah, get ready.
I don't need any coffee.
What is that?
There's
what
a
is that?
voice.
There's a voice.
It's a man voice.
There's a guy on the video with us. Oh my goodness. All right, we got the best show today.
Yeah, we got to get rolling because we are ready to have such a great time talking to a man caregiver.
It's almost like
where's that man?
they are out in the wilderness and not seen often. Male caregivers. It's true.
It's true.
It's true. They're hard to find. This is a part of our series with male caregivers, and people think of women as caregivers, Jay, and
That's true.
And guess what? There's a ton of men caregivers, and they really stay in the shadows more than even caregivers in general. They're harder to find. They're harder to see. So I want you to introduce our guest. Tell our listeners about Carlos, who we love.
Olivas. I've been practicing his last name. How'd I do, Carlos?
Olivas.
It's Irish.
No singing medley.
It is Irish.
It's
clearly
Please watch
Irish.
the video. Please watch the video, and you will fully understand Carlos Olivas.
St. Patrick's Day is what, tomorrow?
Yes.
So I'm Irish this weekend. I'm on
This week.
Olivas.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you guys about Carlos before we get way off the track. So I got Carlos Olivas here with us today. Carlos embarked on a transformative journey. That's what he calls it. In 2015, when he left his career to care for his dad, living with geriatric Alzheimer's dementia. Carlos said goodbye to Ventura, California, and journeyed 400 miles north to Sacramento, where his childhood home became the backdrop for a new chapter of life. Now, Carlos, I'm going to say this is one heck of a chapter because it is still going on. He is using this journey to advocate for compassionate caregiving and mental health awareness. He's reaching a global audience. His themes are love, resilience, and the dance with life. Carlos, I would say that your themes are a whole lot more than that. I see a lot of family and devotion in there. And Natalie and I are so happy to have you here today with us.
Yay!
We need that cheering sound. Okay, Carlos.
I do.
We're gonna get
Hold
down
on.
to business.
Let's cheer him in.
Okay, cheer him in. Ready?
Why is it not going? Wait.
Oh.
There it is. Yeah. That's right. Please, everyone, calm down. Let's slow it down. Okay, great.
Okay. So,
I feel
Carlos,
so
what
Hollywood.
This
I
is
know.
what happens when we switch to a new platform and we have toys to play with.
it's true.
Sorry, everyone, in advance for the toys that are about to happen.
Yeah. I
But
know.
Carlos, we are so happy to have you on the show. For real. We'll get serious.
Okay.
All right,
little.
let's get serious.
We're getting serious. So, okay, I don't even know where to start because your bio was fantastic. I can't even tell the story as well as you can. So I'm going to let you tell it. But I want to get started because family is like, as I read through it, family is just an amazing connection for you. So tell me about your family, your dad, your parents.
Family. Okay. It's been so. I grew up in this house that I'm living in right now. So there's a lot of memories here
Mm-hmm.
of mom cooking meals for days. And bring friends over. She'll say, "Are you hungry?" And our eyes light up and say, "Yeah." And we will have like the best tacos ever, or the best guacamole, or the best tamale parties, where there was alcohol and music and some really good company.
Yeah.
Family, friends, my parents' co-workers, and like the family spirit.
Yeah.
We hold a lot of cultural heritage type of events together as a family. And when I reflect back, the ups and downs, the highs and the lows, they traversed it all of marriage.
Yeah.
Two amazing men who left the nest to fly away and make their own lives.
Carlos, are you the oldest of you and your brother?
And now I'm by myself.
So it sounds like you had, and I really, I don't want to say normal. Like I hear ups and downs. I hear, but your dad, I know in looking over the background, your dad was in the military. Your dad was Navy, and he saw a lot. Did you guys move around a lot, or?
No, his time in the service was from 1960 to 1965.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we came around out of the Navy and met my mom and started a life.
Yeah.
He had career goals and dreams that he wanted to achieve. Some of those goals he may not have ever achieved, but he was able to make up in other ways. He wanted to become an architect, but I think he exceeded more than that.
Mm. So go ahead, Jay.
If you get a chance, I want you to check this out on YouTube, because when Carlos mentions anyone in his family, there's this glimmer, Carlos, when you say, my dad met my mom, your face, or you talk about your brother, your expressions are just amazing. Like when you talk about family, it brightens my heart. Like, I just love it.
So you move, excuse me. Apparently I've got the coffees right now. Literally from the coffee, but you grow up, you leave the nest, and you have life. You're moving along. So let's push along life. Life's going, and kind of fill in the gap there where you're filling in life. You're doing life up to when I think it's like caregivers, you get the call, right?
Yeah, I got a call.
Yeah, let's go there.
I don't know exactly where I was at, but I got a phone call. It says, "Hey, hi, I forgot what her name was. I'm from the dentist office. You are the emergency contact for your father on his medical affairs. And we want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
We have concerns about your dad's health. His oral hygiene is starting to decline. There's noticeable body odor, and he's currently lost. He was supposed to be at a appointment with them at the office, and they called him earlier that morning, told him to put the address into his GPS, 15 miles roaming around. And at that point, I had no clue what was going on. My dad was like, what does that all mean?
So I don't know. Is your mother still alive at this point?
No. She passed away in 2008 with complications surrounding breast cancer, diabetes, and a heart condition.
Mm-hmm.
Just a mixed bag of life.
Yeah.
She fought valiantly as a warrior for the family. Her body was giving up.
Her as well, Carlos?
There was a moment. She passed away in November Um, but in October, mom and dad came to visit me for my birthday. And at that point, I noticed that my dad, who was caring for my mom,
Mm-hmm.
was struggling. I could see it in his face. From what I now know, it's caregiver burnout.
Yeah.
He was angry and
Mm.
I told my mom, I think school.
Yeah.
And it was a rough ride after that. Yeah, it was probably 3 weeks after that. There was an incident where my mom had a blood seizure. Pretty much, dad had to call emergency services. They took her to the hospital, and she was in a coma. Light home, you know, called my brother, booked his flight, had him come home too.
Where did your brother live at the time, Carlos? I'm an interrupting Cal, so just get ready for that.
Yeah, he was living in North Carolina for NASCAR.
Okay.
So he was in the middle of he had the tail end of NASCAR season.
Yep.
He got him home. Pretty much, it was a difficult time because we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
She ended up waking up. I ended up saying hi, and then telling her it's okay to go.
Yeah.
Saying my goodbye. In a hospital room, about everything. Laughing. My mom. She was released from the hospital at that time where like we need to make some family decisions.
Was this the first time, Carlos, that you guys started talking about, like, we need to have a conversation about POA? We need to have a conversation about how do we support you? Because it sounds like you're still kind of in the son role. Are you doing any kind of long distance caregiving and it may just be caregiving or supporting your dad to support your mom? Because it sounds like your dad was the primary caregiver for your mom. And because we're long distance caregivers, even though but we still play point. We're still point. We're right in the middle of it, even though we live farther away.
Yeah. The POA was pretty much handled by my dad.
Mm.
I don't think we ever got to a strong discussion of what's next because my brother flew back to North Carolina to finish up the season, and I flew back to Southern California to start a show. 2 weeks, maybe 1 week, I don't know. She went back to the hospital. Literally, she broke her leg with my dad putting on her underwear and just simply twisted her ankle a little bit, and it was so brittle that it broke her femur. And off to the hospital she went. And they basically said she was not in a condition to repair the femur.
I'm so sorry, Carlos. Hey, everybody, we're back here with Carlos, and he is sharing some stories about family and the importance of family, and really just, Carlos, this beautiful story about your mom and her passing, but how that got us to your dad. And you get the call from the dentist office. And that's really a peculiar place, I think, to get a call from that says, hey, we need your help. We're concerned about your dad. So.
Well, and how much time has passed between your mom passing and you getting the phone call from the dentist?
Now you're going to make me count?
Yeah.
On
Best
top of
guess.
caregiving? Jeez.
Yeah.
So it was 2008 and I got a phone call in 2015.
Okay. So you and your brother are still doing things and living. You didn't move up to be with your dad. But you get the call.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I get the call. So after the phone call, I called my brother and said, and he's like, okay, I'm going to fly in because Dad has a primary care physician and I'm going to take him to that.
Yeah.
And express our concerns. And my brother, because of the phone call, the indifferences that we both shared, me and my brother, of not getting like phone calls on our birthdays for like a few years.
Yeah.
Certain dates, like even my daughter's birthday, I had to remind him several times that it was coming up, or calling my mom and dad's wedding anniversary. Recall.
Yeah.
You know, my brother called me after that appointment and says he was diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment. He was prescribed medications to help slow down the memory loss. And that was it. There was no follow-up with a social worker, no community-based resources that are provided to somebody with mild cognitive impairment.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of, I felt we were left in the dark a little bit. And me and my brother made a decision to move back home.
Both of you.
Well, either he was going to leave NASCAR and it would probably take him a year or year and a half
Mm-hmm.
to do it. We were both in a pivotal state in our careers where we were advancing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I felt best suited for it because my daughter just graduated high school. I had less obligations and responsibilities. And it just felt right for me to take that step. And I could be on the scene within months.
Yeah.
I could be home.
Mm.
Take too long for my brother to get home.
So you said, yes, I'm going to walk away from my career where I live. And I'm assuming your daughter did not move. She was a young adult. So I'm assuming she stayed in Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
And you moved 400 miles north and still in the state of California.
Yeah.
Because that's a big state, by the way. Not wide-wise, long-wise. And you moved back home.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that you would move back home? Like, I think about that in my mind. I'm like, never.
No.
Never. I'm never going back home. I'm like, no.
I'd have friends that say, oh, you ever think about moving back home? And I'd be like, no. Not really.
That's cute. Look at
I
you
have
being
to-
cute.
I have to ask, so, because how old were you when you moved back home, Carlos? That's kind
49?
Wow. Did you have a girlfriend? Guys, we're laughing because we said, hey, is there anything you don't want to talk about? My ex-girlfriend. And I'm not even talking about, I don't even know who she is, but I'm just wondering because you're throwing your life upside down. And
Did you have a personal life? You know, I mean, did you have a life?
Were you cool or did you just work?
Oh,
Yeah, because if you had a girlfriend, I mean, it didn't even matter who it was. If you were seeing somebody, you were in some kind of relationship. I mean, were you completely unattached and free as a bird to float back
At that moment, yes.
Okay.
but you still had, you'd created a life
got
there. You had friends, and so
friends.
you really
I had
did. I mean,
friends, connections that I met,
yeah,
clients.
Yeah.
I've built relationships.
yeah,
I'm still in contact with some of those people.
yeah.
Notice the word some, because I'm going to ask you, you move up north and we're not even going to talk about you caring for your dad yet. Let's talk about beyond the sacrifice of quitting your job, because I'm assuming back then, this was before the pandemic, and we didn't have all the virtual options as much as we did. And you sound like you're in, you were in like an industry that might not lean towards remote work.
Yeah, there's no remote work and doing live events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't
Okay,
call
just
in.
checking.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it now. I could do live
Yeah.
events now via, Zoom and other
Yeah.
devices out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're setting up, lighting for a concert and video screens and audio equipment, you need to be hands-on. It's grunt work,
Yeah.
but it's fun. I mean, it's rock and roll.
But it doesn't sound like you thought twice about it. I love that you had the conversation with your brother and you both decided, you made that final decision and said, it's me, I'm going.
Yeah.
And I know all three of us have had those decisions where we said, it's me, it's my turn. I'm going to do this. But you went, and it doesn't sound, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't have a hesitation, Carlos. It was family, it was devotion, and you went.
I think it's something that was embedded in us.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my mom was going through some struggles and there was a suggestion of possible liver transplant or kidney. Which one is that? It's kidney. Yeah, it's kidneys.
Yeah.
My brother was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's do it. It's something that we felt compelled to do.
Yeah.
It's for the love of our family members.
Yeah.
Did you lose friends did you lose friends, lose connection, lose, like the word lose?
People say you're crazy. What are you thinking, giving up all this?
Why don't you just put him in a place? It'd be easier for you.
Yeah. I didn't say I lost friends. I just don't communicate with them as often as I used to.
That's a good way to put it.
It's positive.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll get messages here and there from friends that will offer amounts of support. I've had officials say, why don't you just put him in a home? He's at that stage. I'm like, do you even know my dad? He'd probably go crazy and decline faster in a home. And don't get me wrong, what I had learned over the last few years, I could probably put my dad in a home and be comfortable with that without guilt or the anticipatory guilt. But you have to weigh that guilt along with the grief and the strain and the struggles and create those moments of joy and have no going down the caregiver river. I was already toast. But when caregiving calls, you dive in head first. And yes, beaten up. But it was another challenge. It was for somebody I loved.
Yeah.
This was something, someone needed support. Mm-hmm. This is like pulling over on the side of the road when you see somebody has a flat tire and asking them if they need help. And maybe just be there. There's cars racing by at 55 miles an hour. And you're just there. It's like, okay, you know what? Let me help you unload your messy trunk to get that spare tire out and get that socket and then just jack up the car and help you with that. That's what that was. That's me. That's my brother. I think that's a human connection. It's like extending a hand out and supporting somebody.
Mm.
And I felt my dad deserved that. He was our hero. He has set the bar extremely high. Or he ended up cracking it because he dropped his own mold.
Hey, everybody, we are back here with Carlos. We're talking about his dad and how he broke the mold. Carlos, you say that you don't think you'll ever meet that, and I listen, and
Mm-mm.
I feel like you are meeting and exceeding.
100%.
You've moved 400 miles, and what you've done with all these experiences. You really have. I think this has put you on a path that you are, first of all, I know you're changing the world. I feel like in my heart with the things that you're doing, the message that you're sharing. But these podcasts that we're doing, we're talking about male caregivers. And I love the fact that you're taking care of your dad, first of all. But we have so many people that come on and they're females taking care of their fathers or their mothers, and we never get a male point of view. Everybody's like, no, men aren't caregivers. I want to talk about you taking care of your dad and kind of what you're feeling.
Stepping into this role is about improvising obstacles of adversity. 9 years ago, I was in a transition phase, trying to learn and adjust my relationship with my dad, butting heads. And then learning how to unlearn what I knew about dignity, empathy, compassion. I had to fall down many times and fail in this father-son relationship. I struggled with my mental health. I struggled with loving my dad. I struggled with the concept I was losing myself. I was in despair. There was one night where I an 800 number to sign up for a workshop that was interesting to me because I was researching online, trying to find out information. Called them up, got registered, and then they said, "How are you feeling?" And I just let it out. I was pissed. I was parking lot. Didn't go inside. I felt that there was a strong stigma, stereotype to being a caregiver. Why do I need to have support? What's a caregiver support group going to do for me?
Mm-hmm.
A couple times I went, it was the wrong day, or I just blew it off. And one day I made a choice. Scared. I walked in. No one looked like me. Most of them were women. And there was a huge age gap.
Of the caregivers, Carlos,
Yeah.
like were they mostly spouses, older spouses caring for spouses?
Yes.
Okay.
There was one male and he was caring for his spouse.
Mm-hmm.
There was another lady who was caring for her elder mother. But there was nobody that I could really connect with. But I went through that caregiver support group, shared my story, and I left there feeling like I was home. That this is where I need to be to support my mental health, to support my journey. I really didn't know what I was embarking on, but it set the stage for a routine of support. like I needed help and I didn't know where to get it or what type of help I needed.
Mm.
But this is the type of help that, and I was open to it. But it took that baby step, that courage, to start that chapter. So I went through a variety of workshops, was recommended some books by the caregiver facilitator. I was guided through various resources to find support, gaining knowledge, gaining momentum, building confidence, establishing a direction, setting goals for myself to reinforce my mental health, my physical, lightening my spirituality. I ended up there was one night where I called my brother and told him I needed help. It's time that you come home. And he said, sure, give me about a year and a half. So in 2019, he packed up his home in North Carolina, said goodbye to NASA's mechanic on a racing team, or different racing teams, depending on the season.
Right.
We started creating a plan. It was really rough at the beginning because he had an idea of how to support our dad.
Ooh,
And
interesting.
I was already engaged in the therapeutic approaches that I was learning with caregiver support groups, workshops, understanding how to communicate with dementia versus communicating with my. Yeah, it was a lot going on.
So your brother comes home and you guys are living together because it's been a minute since you all lived together. And so he comes home, but I want to pause for 1 second and I want to ask you, because you've been doing this now for 4 years before your brother comes. How's your relationship with your daughter? Because she's a young adult. You mentioned that when you moved, she had just graduated. And is it the way that you would have wanted it to go, or did you feel pulled with providing supervision?
Neither do I. I can give you my observations,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also a loving, nurturing, and then moving with her mom to Wyoming. And then my daughter, she was very adventurous and she wanted to go to Europe. And her second trip was in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, she ended up moving in with me and her grandfather.
Wow.
So
you have your brother,
I have
your
my brother,
daughter,
my daughter, and myself, plus dad.
Plus dad.
He actually lives there too.
Yeah, well.
And dementia, Alzheimer's.
And
all
wait,
there.
let's add the fifth person, dementia.
Yeah.
Because I always look at it like Jason's cancer. There's 3 people who live in this household. I'm not going to lie to you, because she lurks in the background and comes forward when she feels like reminding you, hey, look at you, how cute you are.
I'm here.
Hey, don't forget me.
Yeah.
Watch this. Typically, famous last words from from the mistress who lives with us, which is cancer. I have no shame. I call her the mistress. She comes up. She gets his attention. Seriously.
Yeah.
She gets his attention.
You're jealous, aren't you?
Oh, I'm always, I am jealous. I am resentful. I am angry about it. Like, I didn't ask for her to come in our life. Think about it. We didn't ask for you to come in and you just screwed everything up. No different than our mom with Parkinson's. You've messed up our relationship. We wanted to go home. We wanted to go do the things that we used to do. Now we can't. And she's a B. That's my answer. She's a B.
So let's fast forward with my daughter. There were some challenges with her mental health.
Yeah.
2019, I had taken her to the ER department. Then 2020, January, same day that family and friends crashed into the hills of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
That night, I was in the ICU who tried to take her life.
Oh, Carlos.
It was a difficult time. Things that being surrounded by medical professionals who were very
Yeah.
reaching. I wasn't my brother with the intention of not letting my dad know what was going on because I knew the stress and anxiety would cause him out more.
Mm-hmm.
Life. Able to get her back home, get her some treatment, get her some care that she needed. And then March 2020, a mental health challenge, Alzheimer's. Trying to navigate through some very dynamics, all in order to provide support for our dad.
I think caregiving is really messy if you think about it. It's messy. And it sounds like, I remember in reading a post that you had before we met. It was why I reached out to you. And we had been connected on LinkedIn, but I saw your post about being a caregiver for your dad. And then you were reflecting on a couple of years ago, it'd been an anniversary of when your daughter had attempted suicide. And I thought about that and I thought, my God, you're caring for so many people. And it's weird, happy, pleased, thrilled for you, cheering you on, thinking, thank God she survived and she didn't complete it. But I think about you and all the things that must have been going on. You feel like you're the center of the family at this point. You know what I mean? It sounds like your dad's not the center. He's no longer, your parents not the center of the family anymore. It very much sounds like you've taken the lead role. Like JJ has the lead role in our family. JJ is absolutely the lead of our family. Everything revolves around her. And I say that in the most respectful way because she's always respectfully had that role in our family for me and my younger sister, because our parents worked, she was left in charge. And so for JJ to be in charge was so natural for us. We still follow suit. We totally do. We totally follow suit. JJ's like, Natalie, I need you to do this. I'm like, I'm on it, like in it. And so like you and like Jay, I worry about people like you because you don't take care of yourselves because you're so focused on.
That's absolutely right. Who's caring for the caregiver? Who's caring for the person who's leading the way? I say I'm not the best. I'm not perfect. I might not have all my ducks in a row, but I'm being present to improve, to adapt, and trying to find that little edge that I can leap from. I'm going to get to the next step. But life has its own little way of knocking you back down steps or off a ladder.
I feel like you fell off a ladder, Carlos. I have to stop us here just for the regular program. I have to stop us here because we're at the end of our time, but we're going to keep going here in just a sec. But I want to ask a couple of questions and then we're going to keep going because we're going to do some after the confessions, Carlos, because we're not done. Like we're not done. Jay, do you want to ask Carlos a question?
I have so many questions. That's my problem. So You talk about the dance with life in your bio, the vivid hues, the dance, a good moment, a fun moment.
That's what she said. And that's, I guess, the core of things that evolve is the humor between me and my dad. I had to leverage humor and communication in a compassionate approach to talk excuse me, to talk to my dad. The Alzheimer's at ease in a fashion with. And humor is one of those things.
Oh.
If I can objectify women in a subtle way that my dad could understand, meeting him where he's at.
Yeah.
And, that's what she said is a term that, is funny and it's overly used. But I can say that with my dad at any given moment. And if he turns around and gives me a chuckle, then that's a chuckle that reinforces his mood.
Yeah.
And elevates him just a little bit. And that's a little bit of a win.
Mm.
And it also gives him the confidence to be comfortable and safe around me, providing care for him.
Yeah.
And discreet.
Carlos, here's my question. And then we're going to close this out. But
No, I'm not talking about my ex-girlfriend again.
Okay. You can't handle the truth, remember now.
I mean, is there a reason you don't want to talk about your girlfriend? And it's you can't handle the truth. We just got to play it out. A Few Good Men. That's our reference. Okay. Anyway, don't worry about it.
For my mental health, I'm going to not talk about that.
Yeah. And this is the best part. I have no intention of asking that, but it was because before we started recording, we were laughing about what you can't do. I'm just going to say it again. Okay. So back again. What is the one thing that you do for yourself, that you do just for you, your guilty pleasure? What is the thing that you do just for yourself?
He's laughing.
He's very much laughing.
It's the guilty
I know, right?
Yes.
part.
For me, it's Hallmark.
Man, Hallmark, huh?
Well,
that must be a good strain.
No, well, here's the thing. Yeah, right. You just said that must be a good strain. You're in California, right? Okay. I will say my guilty was Jason went out with his friend last night. He's not listening to this. He went out with he comes in and I'm working Carlos. And he goes, "Hey, Chris wants me to go out and it's his birthday and we're going to go out." And I'm like, "Okay." Because I'm going to tell you, I work a lot and that sort of thing. And I think, it's great for Jason to go out and be with people and that sort of thing. I think that's so important for him to have his own identity. But I secretly love it because then the dogs and I get on the couch and we rented this movie last night that was like a Hallmark-esque movie. I love the little rom-coms. And then he didn't call me before he came home. And it was like he caught me. And he came home at 9. Okay, it wasn't like late. He caught me and I'm watching it. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching the movie." "What are you watching?" "Nothing you'd like." And then he starts talking and I'm thinking, there's 20 minutes left. Can you just sip it? Sip it. You're ruining my moment. And he's like, "You know what's going to happen?" I'm like, "Shut it." It's going to end good. So anyway, I'm sorry. We totally digressed.
So Carlos,
what is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure is taking a nap.
Oh, that
I
feels
love
good.
it.
I love it.
I went to Puerto Rico for an event, and I wanted to go see sights of Puerto Rico because it was my first time there.
Yeah.
I ended up sleeping all day long.
Oh, Doesn't
And
it feel good?
the best.
Yeah.
Or when my dad goes over to his girlfriend's house.
Your dad has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to talk about that in the
Oh,
extra
we're talking
content.
about that after the confession. Keep going. Your dad goes to his girlfriend's house. Put that in the middle note, Jay.
And then, it's like, all right,
Nap time.
I can do all kinds of stuff. And then I sit down and end up sitting down and just kind of like falling into the couch
Oh.
and waking up hours later going, what time is it?
I was tired.
I didn't get anything done.
Oh, it feels so
And
good.
I needed that nap. I needed that disconnect.
Yeah.
I needed to really recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right, I'm going to stop us here, but we're coming back for after the confession. So, guys, stick around. Until we confess again, we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye-bye.